The next generation of consoles is cooked. Right now is the worst time to start loving games. Apparently many of us will soon be finishing games on YouTube or on Twitch, because to build a PC from scratch or to buy yourself a console and play games on them is becoming not just an expensive hobby, but it's becoming an elite hobby.
Hi everyone, this is Alex, and guess who killed games again? No, it wasn't the players again, it was AI. The announcement of the next gen has been postponed. What's the outcome of all of this? We'll see at the end of the video.
As mentioned earlier, the primary driver for the potential delay is a global memory crisis. Not only tech giants like Alphabet or OpenAI, but other companies are also purchasing vast amounts of DRAM and high bandwidth memory for AI data centers, leading consumer electronics manufacturers to compete for an increasingly shrinking and expensive supply.
Just in case you suddenly forgot, because of AI videos of Gandalf Techno-Viking and cats playing the drums, the cost of memory and of components in general is going up. But this is only an indirect reason.
AMD CEO Lisa Su let out a hint about when a next-gen Xbox could launch during the company's Q4 2025 earnings call. Providing commentary on client revenue, the top executive said development of Microsoft's next-gen Xbox featuring an AMD semi-custom SoC is progressing well to support a launch in 2027.
And this is an interesting phrase in which it is very important to pay attention to the words.
AMD is ready to support the launch of the console in 2027. However, this is not equal to the console actually coming out. Besides the processor and GPU, the console also has to be equipped with our favorite memory, both SSD and RAM. And in the conditions of the current crisis, this will be very expensive. And this is what Sarah Bond talked about earlier. Well, I can tell you you're right that the next-gen console is going to be a very premium, very high-end curated experience. In the interview, Bond emphasized the ability to play games from any store or platform anywhere at any time. She also said that the industry is moving away from blockbuster exclusives, which has traditionally been a focus around big console launches. It's like with the phrase premium, they are getting us ready to accept a higher price point. And here it is worth noting that this is frankly dust in the eyes, even though most likely it is true. But behind this lies the fact that playing on any platform means that all platforms have different characteristics, which means the gaming experience may not be satisfactory everywhere. And therefore, to play on any platform, cloud gaming and subscription will mostly likely be needed. And if we talk about the console itself, it will simply be expensive because of the components. That's why Xbox went into multi-platform, to earn money on all devices, as long as people will pay for a subscription.
And here's what the sources writes about the PlayStation 6.
Since memory makes up about a fifth of a PC's total component costs, this hits manufacturers hard. Sticker prices for consoles could rise another 10 to 15% over the next year or two, while PC prices could climb as much as 30% as memory prices rise again in 2026.
So hold on to your PCs, handheld consoles and regular consoles.
Reports cite a surge of up to 75% in DRAM prices between December 2025 and January 2026. Analysts warn that if Sony were to launch the PS6 under current market conditions, the retail price could exceed $1,000 to maintain profitability, which is considered the primary reason for the company's postponement of the launch.
In that case, Sony could catch a huge wave of hate. And right now is not the best time to fall face first into the mud, when it already had problems with its reputation.
That's according to Bloomberg, which reports that the recent memory shortages driven by the increasing popularity of generative AI may force Sony and Nintendo to make huge changes. The publication writes that anonymous sources familiar with the ongoing issue say that Sony is considering delaying the PS6 to 2028 or as late as 2029, which was described as being a major upset to the company's plans.
And as we all know, because of the price increase, Steam Machine also is not rolling out either an exact release date or a price yet, because prices are jumping. And I have two news for you, and one of them is bad.
The first, all the internet drama about useless developers about WoW games will seem like just kindergarten, because the price increase for components of any gaming system will directly affect the entire game industry. Prices will fly high, very high. And if you have a console like a PS5 or Xbox Series X, or at least a PC of similar configuration, then you are lucky and pray that nothing breaks. Components probably will not get cheaper anytime soon. The new generation of console is shifting, and we are in for the longest console cycle. I'd say it's a good news. Why is this good? Because, to be honest, we've already reached such a level of graphics in games where it's hard to notice the difference between pixels. The PS5 Pro proved this. If we compare the previous generation, then in the 2000s there was a breakthrough in 3D graphics. It was the golden time when the picture was getting better and better from year to year. Then there was another leap, but not so noticeable, in 2014. With the release of the PS4 and Xbox One consoles. Of course, there were titles that stunned with graphics, but it was no longer felt so strongly. And in this console generation, I cannot say that the graphics shot into the stratosphere. In fact, even the consoles themselves were advertised as devices with super fast loading. There wasn't such a strong emphasis in the marketing of graphics. I don't see the point in advertising consoles and even video cards where they talk about the ability to play in 4K, in 8K at 120 FPS. And what's next? 12K resolution? And how much will such monitors cost to at least support such a frame rate of 60 FPS? And I'm not even talking about 120 FPS. Of course, innovation is great, but the average buyer reaches innovation at least a few years later. He is not chasing expensive equipment, for the simple reason his budget is limited. He will not be peering into the picture and looking for the difference in the number of pixels. He will just play at 1440p or 1080p with 60 FPS or higher and enjoy it. The 4K segment is still not that huge. I believe that neither the PS5 nor the Xbox Series X have reached their limit in this generation. They calmly run games at 30 plus FPS at a resolution around 2K. They are coping with their task. Being an enthusiast in the field of gaming hardware is extremely expensive right now. Questions about why memory prices are flying so much and why our favorite hobby is becoming less accessible, these are consumer questions, and they do not reveal the full picture. It is necessary to ask another question. Where are most data centers located and where are they being built so intensively?
That, detective, is the right question.
In North America, the USA is leading in this matter. Compared to data centers in Europe, they are simply giants, monopolists if you like. Well, okay, what's the point? After all, the structure of components for PCs and consoles differs from those that data centers need. Yes, and companies that produce components will receive much more profit from data centers. And you will ask, why is the USA building these data centers that eat electricity like whole cities? The answer is cynical. This is the new oil. And they want to own the whole pipeline. There are three levels of benefit here. The first is money. A data center is a vacuum cleaner for investments. Billions of dollars are spent on construction, salaries, and equipment inside the country. The money doesn't go to China or Taiwan. It circulates in the US economy. Energy companies love AI because people are bad customers. We sleep, we turn off the lights, factories stand still on weekends, consumption jumps, and for nuclear plants this is a nightmare. It cannot slow down for the night, it's just burning money. And then data centers appear. This is the ideal devourer. It eats electricity 24/7, evenly, powerfully, and without breaks for sleep. For nuclear power, this is salvation. There's no more downtime, every watt produced is salt. Even unstable green energy now makes sense. When the sun shines too brightly, AI simply loads its processors more and eats its surplus. In essence, AI has turned electricity from a utility for people into fuel for machines, and machines pay for it more steadily than you and me. But the most important thing is control. The USA is now becoming the world's landlord of intelligence. They do not sell you technologies, they are putting the whole world on an intellectual needle. Do you want AI for business, medicine, or games? You will pay America for access to their APIs and clouds. You will be an internal renter, and if tomorrow some country starts to behave badly, the USA will simply cut off its access to the brains. And as becomes clear from all this, by 2030 console manufacturers are hoping that the boom will subside. The AI fever will calm component prices. As a result, the division of the hardware market into hardware with AI and hardware without AI. Without AI will be weaker. With AI will work with a tie-in to the cloud and work more efficiently, in spite of possibly smaller amounts of memory inside the device. However, a danger of data confidentiality appears. How convenient. And such hardware will be more expensive. I'm sure there will also be a subscription. No one will sell such capacities for free. And the most important thing is that consoles will be more expensive, and this will not become cheaper. Console generation cycles will get longer. The most important question is, when will the ceiling for AI be reached? Already now AI is having less and less room to grow, and it will be like with graphics now. And that's, I guess, the bad news. I hope I managed to explain the global picture a little, although this was just the very top of it. I will not go further because this is already not a gaming topic at all. Thank you for watching to the end, subscribe and hit like if you enjoyed the video, write your thoughts in the comments. See ya!